Happy day, I'm Lisa Huck. I'm a movement therapist and vitality coach, founder of Thrive Fitness, Nutrition, Lifestyle, and I'm super excited that you're here with me to do this. Let's get started. Okay, our first movement is for the calves, ankles, and foot. We're going to start off against a door or a wall. I start off with one foot back. Make sure that back foot is straight, hands up, and I'm going to drive forward from the hips. As I do this, my back leg is straight, and I'm trying to keep my back heel down. I'm going forward for about 4 or 5 reps, or until you feel softening in your ankle and calf. After you do a few reps, start to drive that heel down for a more intense effect. Now I'm going to stay forward and change the plane. That means changing the direction. This really opens up and stimulates all the different fibers, unlocks your foot. Now we're going to go circles, just like this. I'm trying to drive my heel down to stretch my calf more. Change directions of the circles. About 4 or 5 reps, or until you feel a change in the parts. And now I'm going to go rotate to the right and rotate to the left. Notice how my back heel is pretty down and I'm not letting the back foot spin at all. We're turning the hips, I'm leaning forward, I'm really unlocking and lubricating my foot. Okay, we'll switch sides. The back foot is straight, arms are up. This is also starting your core training, by the way. Hips go forward and back. The first few reps, I'm just going through the motions to feel my body and make sure everything feels okay. As long as everything feels okay, I'm going to start driving my heel down for a greater effect on the calf. Stay forward, go right and left. Right through the hips. What I love about these movements is they're global. They're affecting everything, my shoulders, my neck, my hips. I'm going to go circles. Driving from those hips and from those knees. This feels so good. It's waking up the body, lubricating and heating. Change directions. About 4 or 5 reps or so. I'm keeping my back heel down. Now I'm going to rotate my ankle. I'm going to turn to one side. Ooh, I got a good pop there. You're going to hear little pops and crackles, and that's your bones aligning into a happier alignment as they get lubricated and softened. One more time on each side. And that's for the calf and ankle. Okay, the next move is for the chest. What we're going to do is we're going to hold on to the molding of a door, a corner, open a door, any number of things you can hold on to. Whatever arm that you're stretching, that same foot is forward. We start with a forward movement. Allow your target shoulder blade to just release, relax. Notice if you're holding tension there and try and just let it get mushy. I do several reps forward. As I come forward, I feel all this stretching from my forearm to my arm, my shoulder, and my chest. Now I'm going to step into that and I'm going to move laterally. As I move laterally, I'm really allowing the shoulder blade to relax. About 5 reps or so. You might want to do more because it feels good. This is going to give you better posture, being more upright, and better lung capacity. Okay, we're going to switch sides. Okay, other side for your chest. I'm holding on to the corner this time. Whatever arm is back, that same foot's forward. And I'm just going to rock forward through my hips and my knee, allowing my rib cage to open up. Feels really good. And then I'm going to step into it and move laterally. Remember to try and relax that shoulder blade. Are you holding tension there? Just let it go. Mushy, mushy shoulder blade. Couple more. There you go. Okay, this is one of my favorites. Sometimes it's hard to find a place to do this. We've got the sink. Everybody has a kitchen sink. I'm going to come forward. This is for your back and your lats. Hands wide, feet are wide. Hang back, and then I'm going to just drop my face and shift right and left. Where you should feel this is in your rib cage right here, your chest, your pecs, your shoulders. And I'm just letting my head be neutral. Then I'm going to stop and turn my feet diagonal, and I'm going to pull on that one rib cage. So my one arm, this arm is pushing, and this one's pulling, and I'm using my legs to drive my hips, really getting a great rib cage opener. Switch sides, just like this. As we soften up the rib cage, we ease the stress on the lower back and the knees. Then back to the center, I'm going to hang back, look down, round the back, look at my belly button, look up, arch the back. Great for your neck and shoulders, for that place where a lot of people hold tension. I'll do one more. And then I'm going to come down, narrow my feet a bit, sit down, This may not be right for your knees. If it hurts the knees, don't do it. And then I'm just going to drop my face, narrow my hands, and shift right and left. This is great for your low back to decompress it, open it up. And then I might turn a little bit with those knees. Now again, if this feels like your knees are too pinchy, don't do it, or just stay holding just like this without the movement. Okay, this is one of my favorites. If you do any bit of sitting, which we all do, the front hip gets tight and that plays havoc on the lower back and the knees. We're going to use the kitchen table and a chair. One foot up, this is called the front hip or the hip flexor. I hop back a little bit and I'm going to rock forward, leading from the hip, and I'm holding on so I'm really stable. My back heel stays down and my back leg stays pretty straight. As I come forward, I feel the stretch through here. I'm going to add the arm to accentuate the stretch. You're going to love this one. This one has such dramatic effects on people's backs and their knees. After about 4 or 5, I'm going to stay forward where I've pulled up all the slack, and I'm going to go laterally. It's always best if you have something to hold on to when you're stretching. Of course, you can do your stretches without something to hold on to, but it is better because it keeps your leverage proper. Now I'm going to make circles. Do you know all these different directions I'm doing? This allows the blood flow to get into the nooks and crannies of the body, and the lubricant and change directions, the oxygen and the nutrients. It moves your lymph around. Okay, here's the big one. This is the most important one. Look down at your foot, make sure it's straight forward. Chances are it's turned out, so put it straight. I'm going to come forward and then turn out with my hips and lean away from that, lifting my rib cage, and then reverse and come out. That's one rep there. Forward, turn the hips, lean back, lift the rib cage, lock out your back knee. Come on out. We'll do a couple more. Forward, turn, lean back, pelvic tilt this hip, tuck the hip under. Feel that stretch. We'll do one more time. This is so important for your back. Feels great on the hip. Lean back, lift the rib cage, lock out the back leg. Okay, come on back. We have one more direction. I'm going to reach across in the opposite direction. These rocking motions create flow of energy, flow of blood, flow of oxygen, and detox the parts. Okay, we'll do the other side now. Okay, back foot. Make sure it's back and it's straight. Hold on. Also make sure as you're doing this that your chair isn't going to slide. That would not be so good. I'm rocking forward and back through the hip. And as I rock forward, I'm lifting my torso straight up, and that gives me an accentuated stretch. I'm going to add this arm to pull the stretch all the way to my rib cage, because these muscles actually attach at the lower rib cage. They have a big effect on the spine. When they're tight, they bend you over, they hunch you over. I'm going to stay forward and I'm going to go right and left. Now let me show you an option on this. If you didn't want to do this with the arm, if it was too unstable, you could hold on and go right and left if that feels more comfortable. Now we're going to go circles and then change directions. I'm trying to make the circle as round as possible. Sometimes in the beginning the circle is sort of jagged or squarish. Now here's the important one. Look down at that foot, make sure it's straight forward and not turned out. Go forward, turn in, lean back and lift through the rib cage and come on out. I'm going to show you another option on this side. Forward, turn, lean it back. You can add that arm. We'll go a couple more. Go forward, pull up all the slack, turn in, lean back, tuck this hip, the target hip. One more time. Forward, turn, lean back, lift the rib cage, lock out the back knee. Don't let the back foot spin. Okay, other side, we're reaching up and over. A high reach is great too because it really gets this side. One more time. Super duper. Okay, you're going to love these. Again, we're using a household item, your kitchen table. I'm putting a towel on there to give me a little padding in my ankle. I'm going to start off with my hamstring stretch, right forward like that. I'm going to put my whole leg on here. And I'm going to start off with my foot straight, holding on. I really want to hold on, so I'm not going to come way back because I can't reach. I'm going to go forward. My whole leg's on the table. I'm going to start by reaching forward. What's really important about the hamstring is it does not matter how far you get. It's what you feel. So we start by tugging on the tissues. It doesn't matter how forward you get. It's about what you feel in the tug. And I also like to be able to hold on to the table because it gives me balance and leverage. And you're feeling the whole back of the leg. Now, one thing that's important is look down at this hip. Make sure it's not turning out or the foot's not turning out because you'll lose the stretch. We keep the hip square. Then I'm going to come across and reach into the inside. I call this the inside diagonal. This can often give you more of like a groin hamstring stretch. If you want more intensity, pull the pinky toe back towards you. I can also stop and rest and drop my face for a few seconds. That feels really good. The last direction is across the diagonal. Now, this is the hardest one of the three. I've moved progressively from easier to harder. I always like to recommend that to prepare the tissues so they're softest and they're ready for that. I may hold across and drop the face, drop the shoulders, drop the weight of the torso, turn my face right and left. This feels great on the hamstring. And then come on out and I'll switch sides. Other side hamstring, leg up. My foot's pretty far forward. I'm going to start by bending forward. Now let's say the table is too high for your hamstring flexibility. Get something small you can step on that's stable. A book, a brick, something that makes you a little higher that will make the table shorter. I can reach forward. Notice this hip is square. That standing leg is straight forward. It's not turned out. Then I'm going to go ahead and go inside. And any one of these three angles, the forward or the two diagonals, you can stop and hold the stretch. Just hold. That's one reason why I like the hand. It bears your weight and your spine can relax. Let your spine be heavy. Then I'm going to come across to the other side. Again, this is the hardest of the three. Be considerate. Don't dive too fast into it. Also notice my speed. I'm not bouncing. I'm actually slightly slowing down as I get to the end. Now I'm going to hold this one, drop my face, drop my shoulders, drop my torso. Check that this hip is square forward, that it hasn't turned out. That really increased the stretch. I can also make this straight and not let it turn out as well. Excellent hamstring. Okay, we're on to back butt, the side of the hip. I'm going to put my foot up. I've placed the towel here for padding on my ankle. I'm going to hop my foot back. Now, the tighter you are, the farther forward your standing foot is, and the looser you are, the farther back it is to get more tightening. Also notice that my knee is out like a triangle. I'm going to move forward and move back through my hips just like this. I'm preparing all these tissues of the hip. There's a lot of thick tissue there. The butt muscles are thick. The groin muscles are thick, so we have to move them a lot to get the heat and the oxygen in deep. And then I'm going to stay forward. I'm going to go right and left. I'm gripping with my hands, gripping the table. When I bring my hip over to the side, I'm trying to get it lined up with the knee. That's just a little detail. All this is going to be good. You don't need the details really. Let's go circles. All these different directions open up the nooks and crannies of the body and feed those areas with fresh new fluids and oxygen, as well as resources, as well as push out the toxins and the waste. It's good stuff. Okay, part two, I'm going to shift my hips over, square up the hip and the knee. Now I'm going to take my torso forward. I'm using my upper body to bear my weight so my back can relax and be slack. It feels good in the back too. You should feel this in the target leg, in the back of the leg. Sometimes you'll feel it in the groin, and that's okay. I'm going to turn to the inside angle now. Coming to the inside angle. I call these lizard push-ups. Bring my torso down. Try to avoid just moving at the head. Try and move from the hip a little bit, even if it's an inch. 1 inch creates movement. One of my teachers calls it movement creates lotion for the joint. Motion creates lotion for the joint. I'm going to the outside diagonal. Now at any one of these I can stop and hold and drop the face and drop the weight. That's a great added benefit when you hold it statically. Okay, other side, back butt, leg up. My knee is out like a triangle. Hop my foot back. My back foot is straight forward. I'm going to come forward and back. I call this a hip driver because I'm driving through the hips. See that knee? It looks like a triangle out to the side. I'm lubricating, heating, softening up all the muscles of the hip joint. Then I'm going to stay forward. I'm gripping with my hands, going right and left. Now it's very normal for one side to be tighter than the other. It's very important for you to work a little bit more time and a little bit more consideration on that tight side. Let's go circles. What happens is when one side is tighter than the other, it twists your pelvis, and that creates undue stress for the lower back and the knees. Change directions. So when you become more and more symmetrical over time by practicing these, you take stress off of those joints and wear and tear off those joints. So that's one of the benefits to this. Okay, part two. do, I'm going to hop over, square up my knee, square up my hip, and this is called a torso driver. I go down over. I also call these lizard push-ups because I'm using my arms to bear my weight. Up and down. This feels great. One more time. I can always hold it at the bottom, be heavy, drop the face, drop the shoulders, and then go into the inside diagonal. I'm feeling this in the outside of the hip, but I'm also, for me, feeling this in the groin, on the groin side. That's not wrong. All of that's fair game. Now the final diagonal is turn over to the outside diagonal. Up and down. I'm actually using this to pull myself over a little bit and give me leverage. Excellent. Okay, we're on to the quad stretch. You're going to love this one. I'm at a couch, put my foot up, keep my knee right underneath me so I'm pretty narrow. I'm not going wide-kneed, and I'm holding onto the back, and I'm going to start off by reaching my arm up and back. As I do that, I tuck this hip and tighten that butt and come on down. Now, normally I've been teaching to reach the arm of the leg you're stretching, which is okay, but if you want to hold on, you can reach with the other arm. Just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay up and I'm going to reach over and then over. Over. This is a little bit less stable. If that doesn't feel good, just stay straight forward and maybe turn. You can do a few turns. There's so many things we can do here. Other side quad stretch. Knee goes up. My foot's hooked on the arm of the couch. And I'm going to start off. I'm going to show you this one without holding on. Just reaching up and back. Now here's the key on this one. I'm tightening the stretching leg butt. I'm tucking those hips and tightening the butt. I can also make it harder by bringing my butt back to my heel and then reaching over and over. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, but one of the keys is keeping this hip tucked and that butt tight. There's the quad.